Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be giving you and Gaijin, if they listen, 5 hopefully quick and simple ways to improve War Thunder. These ways are based around numerous things including gameplay, user interface, and more. Some of these things are probably things that you've heard before, while others might be new to you, and possibly Gaijin. That said, please subscribe if you like more content, especially in relation to guides and tips and tricks videos, as I release those quite often. I also do giveaways fairly often, so subscribing to me and hitting that notification bell will keep you in the loop for when I do a giveaway so that you won't miss it. Either way, let's get into the video. Number 1. Now I'll start off with something both simple and fun, and that's chest keys being available in the Warbond shop, specifically loot crate keys. It would give console players the chance to earn incredibly rare vehicles that PC players would normally only have access to. It would give all players, whether they're console or PC, the ability to earn chest keys without spending money, which would go a long way towards helping people actually feel like this game is not pay to win. Additionally, Gaijin could throw in the item crates that have the chance to give GE, Silver Lions, backups, or a vehicle into the Warbond shop as well. I think that a somewhat fair price for these would be between 600 and 1000 Warbonds, at least insofar as it might be more fair for Gaijin. A more fair price for players might be between 400 and 700 Warbonds, but I think that this would be a little bit too low for Gaijin to consider. Adding both loot crate keys and item boxes to the Warbond shop would go a long way towards making Battle Pass more appealing for the average person to purchase. So that being said though, thank you FettaCheese for giving me this idea. Now for number 2, customizable loadouts. This is something that has been requested for a long time. Basically, rather than the loadout presets that we see in planes, where it shows that they can carry any pre-made loadouts of bombs, rockets, cannons, missiles, and so forth, the idea is that the player should be able to select any weapons that they want to equip, so long as it was historically possible. Now, this alone would take huge amounts of effort on the part of Gaijin, so I do not see this change happening anytime soon. Also, the loadout preset system that War Thunder currently uses is a nice, neat way for Gaijin to express all of the various combinations of ordnance that a plane can use, all in a nice, simple statistic. If nothing else, as we get closer and closer to truly modern planes, aircraft are beginning to have literally dozens of loadout presets anyways, of which would probably mimic the most common custom loadouts that a player might create. Heck, even the MiG-23, an air superiority fighter, has over 30 loadout presets, which shows how many options we get with modern planes, regardless of the type that it is. Either way, it would still be very nice for World War II and Korean War era planes. Unfortunately, unless including the possibility of giving people the ability to choose MG bullet type, ground forces would unfortunately lack the robust customization suite that pilots could enjoy, if again this system ever gets put into place. Number 3, decompress BRs. Now, decompressing BRs is something that is always talked about and on rare occasion is implemented by Gaijin. Basically, if you do not know what decompressing BRs means, it means that the ceiling for BRs, which is currently 11.0 for both air and ground, would be raised. By doing this, some vehicles that are difficult to place insofar as BR is concerned, such as the T-20 and Jumbos, at least from Gaijin's perspective, would encounter tougher vehicles like King Tigers or, worse yet, post-World War II vehicles, at least less often. This would allow for vehicles to be more evenly matched with those around it, as increasing the BRs by as little as 0.3 or even as high as 1 BR or even possibly more would allow for there to be much more space in the tech trees, which would allow for the more even balancing of vehicles. Basically, if the mouse, for example, which is currently 7.7 BR, didn't have to face nearly as many ATGM and APF SDS carrying tanks as it does now, by virtue of those tanks largely having a BR increase, the mouse could go back to 8.0 BR. That's not the best example, of course, but you get where I'm going. In much the same way, especially with some MiG-21s now being at 9.3 BR, one could see that a slight BR decompression would make it so that they can go back to 9.3 or even 9.7 BR, or even possibly higher. It won't face World War II jets again. Of course, Gaijin does everything that they can to disallow this from happening, largely in that they claim that it will create longer queue times, but with high player count numbers and with literally tens of thousands of people pretty much always in matches, I doubt that even a slight 0.3 BR increase would do much to increase queue times. With the typically 40 plus vehicles that we get per update, and with even more from events and battle pass, Gaijin is increasingly filling up BR brackets with vehicles that don't have a clear BR and as such can start to dominate vehicles in lower ends of BR brackets simply because the new tank might be right on the edge of its current BR, whereas Decompression would allow it to be moved up slightly without making it a useless vehicle. Number 4, improve server stability. The need to improve server stability is obvious. Though it tends to happen in waves, things like packet loss and ping are absolute killers in game and will result in major headaches and losses for those unfortunate enough to be hit by them. A few days ago, for example, I was in a match where I was in the top 2 on my team in my Abrams and was no more than a minute from winning a hard-fought match that lasted until the 3 last players from each team were still playing. I had a 500% RP booster and we were literally again about to win, with my score being over 3,000, when out of nowhere it kicked me back to the hangar and it did not count the match for anything. Things like that happen all the time and have been happening more recently. In my opinion, this is the most immediate concern that Gaijin needs to face. If you can't even reliably play the game, then what does it matter if BRs are a little bit compressed? Thankfully, server instability isn't an every match sort of thing, at least not for me, but on average, in my experience, I'd say that I experience serious packet loss once out of every 10 or 20 matches, with some waves, like the Great Hamster Die-Off of 2020, having it occur nearly every match for nights on end with little reprieve. Do what virtually every MMO does. Shut down servers for a pre-allotted amount of time on your least busy day and at the least busy time, and work on maintenance and upgrades for your servers. Trust me guys, invest in the future, it will go a long way. And for number 5, fill in the BR gaps. Some trees have massive BR gaps where there might only be one vehicle in a full 1.0 BR bracket. France, for example, has a massive BR gap in their air tech tree between 4.3 and 6.0 BR in RB, where they only have 2 planes, one of which is a premium that is not even for sale all the time, with the other one being a bomber. While most trees don't have gaps this glaring, it would be nice if Gaijin would release an update or two with an increased amount of vehicles going to smaller nations, at least smaller in game, especially in these BR gaps. I mean, I recognize that Halo vehicles are really what people want, so by releasing top-end vehicles, it makes people at the bottom, new players, really want to work for it. But if you don't have a fun experience on the way, then what's the point? They're going to quit anyways. Trust me, Gaijin, it will pay off in the long run to fill in these BR gaps. And for 2 final kind of hidden things, and these are kind of gripes that I have with Gaijin, not really things that they will do or can do to improve War Thunder, but more things that I feel like they should change a little bit. I feel first that they should change up events or at least make them easier. Maybe instead of 2 crafting events per year, make one of them into a World War mode event. A lot of people like those, a lot of people have a lot of fun with those, and people dread crafting events. The only people who are really getting into crafting events are those who literally have dozens of hours per week to spend on video games, or those who literally have just started playing and they don't know any different. I know that this isn't gonna happen because these events make tons of money for Gaijin. However, if you could just make them a little bit easier, give them 2 or 3 days longer, maybe make the required materials to craft the vehicles 5%, 10% lower, it will go a long way and it will earn dividends. Trust me, Gaijin. And secondly, I think that I can speak for the majority of the community that's been playing War Thunder for years, especially when it comes to content creators. Slow the pace of events in general, Gaijin. It's causing a ton of burnout for those that genuinely love the game and want to earn everything possible. It's making people lose sleep, among other things, because of it. So just slow your roll, Gaijin. I really appreciate all of these things, but it'd be nice if you just give us a freebie. Right now, as I'm writing this, as I'm reading this, we have 3 things going on: new battle pass, an anniversary sale that's coming next week, and a major update all at once. And you could argue that those things are slow things that you don't really need to invest a ton of time into immediately, but still they are things that will take up a lot of time and really take a lot of getting used to. So there's a lot going on pretty much all the time without breaks. So please, Gaijin, just slow it down. But either way, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe. You know the dealio. Again, I do tons of giveaways, tips and tricks videos, so on and so forth. You name it, I probably do it. I even have a live action video that I did for War Thunder. But either way, again, thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.